Okay, so we'll get down to some business now. This, I think, this is Razvan. He's been on the chat before. He's Freeman, and he's trying to run the hot gym example in old Nupic Python 2. So before I get started doing the Python 3 thing, I wanted to try and figure out why this was why he was having a problem. And he pasted his code at some point. Here it is. So I should be able to take this code, copy paste it, and then figure out what's going on and if I can get a piece of his data, you know. But I think I can figure it out. I think I can even make my own data maybe. So let's look into that first. Interesting music. Is it too loud? I'm always worried the music is too loud. Okay, so let's first. Where am I? This is probably just going to be a temp directory. So, but it's just right for Mark. It's engaging, almost maybe a little too engaging for me, for programming anyway. Programming music. I might get distracted by it. Let's just make a. I don't think we need really a follow along with this, so I'm just gonna go. I think there's already a tempter. I always have a tempter. So move all that crap. Make dir Freeman. And pb paste run.py vcode, no, just code. So that gives me Visual Studio. Okay, so I can change the Python interpreter used by Python extension by clicking on the Python version in the status bar. Right here? Okay, good, because I don't want to use that one. I need to use this one. Okay, thank you. You've selected the macOS system install of Python, which is not recommended. Yeah, for use. Some functionality will be limited. Select the interpreter. I know what I'm doing, sort of. Okay, so this is basically the hot gem code example. Where is the CSV file? That's CSV reader. Okay. So that's coming in. Data dir, and then the gym name. Yeah, I remember this stuff. So the data dir we're saying is here. Gym name is rec center hourly. This was overly complicated. The next example I make is going to be a whole lot easier than this. This is just making sure that it matches the file. I really don't care about any of this. All I want is an input file. So whatever the gym name is, I don't care. I'm just going to hard code this. I don't care about it. I'm just going to have an input file open something somewhere, wherever the CSV file is, and read it. I need to do this. Plot is always going to be false, sure. Oh, no. That's fine. I don't know if plot's going to work. I'm not going to use plot. It doesn't matter. Run gym name. Plot equals plot. Sure. So I'm just going to hard code the CSV. So really all I need to test this out is a CSV file. So let's go back to this and see if we talked about data. Code with changes. Is this the same gist? CE11, yes, okay. Just making sure. So we have the updated code. Value of model params, change the inference type. Data. So maybe we didn't talk about data? So okay. You need to match the field names in the model. So we need a, let me just grab a CSV file from NewPick, because rec center hourly CSV. Find NTA NewPick name rec center hourly CSV. There's a ton of them. Any one of these should be okay. That one's fine. Copy that to here. So now we've got the data file, timestamp, consumption. I don't need a CSV reader, but I might later. Okay, so we'll just say rec center hourly CSV, and let's see what happens. Now, if we run it from here, I'm not sure if this will work, but we'll try. Don't we have to run Python file? NewPick output. Oh, it's expecting NewPick output. I don't really care. Okay. Whoops. What is all this? Kill, die, terminal, go away. NewPick output. Let's get rid of that. We don't need it to run this. So whatever's using NewPick output, we're just gonna get rid of. File output. Oh, I guess I need it for, I don't want to run a file output. I don't care about this. Where else? All I'm gonna do is like write it out to the screen. So the results we should be able to get right here. So here's the output that we want. But instead of this, I'm just gonna print it. Right, timestamp consumption prediction. Yeah, okay, so print, I forget, we're in Python 2, so I can use this, but I won't be able to use some stuff. I can't remember. Can I do this, comma, can I do like, isn't it S percent, and then I can put the timestamp in, timestamp, colon, let's just say S percent, I think, string, and so that'll make these strings. I hope this works. Okay, we're not going to refresh a GUI, so we don't need to go to the output. We have no output, so where's, okay, that's the only output, okay. I'm using Python 2 right now because this example is Python 2. Or the library that we're using is Python 2. So there is no, I will be doing Python 3 in a moment, but this, right now I'm trying to answer a form question about an HTML example. It's like the typical HTML example. It's called hot gem. And it just takes this gem data, a temporal sequence of temperatures from a gem, and passes it through the HTML, and the HTML spits out predictions and anomaly scores. And he's having trouble getting it running. And he's pasted me his code, and I am trying to run it. So let's see what happens this time. You must run swarm because model parameters. Oh yeah, he's got model parameters. We need to get the model parameters. If I stop this, input data is not defined. Input data. Input data. Okay, what did I do? How did that break? Let's see, let's look at his input data. Run model. Input data is the flippin' path to the CSV file. Why it's called input data, I do not know. Why does run through NuPick even need it? I also don't know. Okay, so that it should say like CSV file path or file name or something there. Okay, so the run IO through NuPick needs this basically, I think, to identify. Okay, input data. I'm just trying to get this working. Whoops, let's do this. This is just an example. Input data. This guy is going to take the input data, it's going to open it. Okay, let's see if this works. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Oh, come on. All right. Run it again. Run it again. Okay, gym name is not defined on 129. How do I get this to go away when I'm done? 129, gym name. It's because you don't need a gym name. Rec, center, hourly. I just want to get it to run, you know. Okay. Go. Run. Okay, so now we're getting to the problems that he's starting to report. So unknown field name C0 in input record. It's expecting timestamp and kW energy consumption. So let's see how we're creating model parameters. So are we using model params dir? No. So let's get rid of that. I don't know this date format if we're using. We don't really need any of these metric specs, but we'll leave it. When we create the model, metric specs, this is after, oh, the model's already created at this point. Here's the creating the model. Model config was model params, so what's calling that? Params, get scalar metric. Okay, so this is, so here we're passing it a line of data. This is where I want to stop. Stop right here, and let's debug right here. And see what kind of data we're getting. The data is straight up. Oh, so that's just a list. Yeah, it's just a list. It's 4-row in CSV reader. Yeah, so it's just appending. I don't know that this is what this function is expecting. That's metric data. Return a dict that can be used to create an anomaly model via example metric data. Yeah, okay, that's right. Yeah, you're just giving it a sample of the data, and it's going to find its numpy array of metric data. So this probably is not a numpy array, but does it matter? So you could also just send in the min val and max val if you want. But let's try, but let's keep it with the data. Can't we, I don't think it needs to be a numpy array, so this should be okay. So stepping over, we should get some parameters. And the parameters are, they have canned field names. So here's the problem, I think. Freeman, if you're watching, maybe later. The field names that are, how do I get a watch on this? How can I, like, how can I, peak definition rename? I want to like bring up this in a bigger window so I can inspect it easier. How can I inspect this thing? Go to definition, peak definition, rename. It should be like an execute or a watch or a run selection of line in terminal. I don't know. I'd like something in this console. Like in most debuggers, you can select a value up here that should be in memory and inspect it. Or oh, here's a watch. Here's what I want. This is it. Params. Okay, that's what I wanted. Just didn't see it over here. It's hiding. So we've got model config. So this is actually the configuration. And the issue, ugh, I didn't mean to do that. What do I gotta do here? Okay. Let's turn this off. I could have just done that. It's okay, it doesn't matter. Here we go. So the issue is in the model params. Everything is keyed off of column 0, column 1, column 2, etc. So there's C1, for example, column 1, time of day. These are the sensor parameters, so these are their encoders. So when you call this function, it is going to come back with, or it's going to can the names of the fields to C0 and C1. C0 is going to be the time of day, and well, this says 3, so it's only got time of day. But you have to translate this to either call your. So the easiest thing to do to fix this would be to go into the data. Let's go find the data. And here, let's stop this. And just call this C0, call this C1. Now, we'll run it again. Run it again. No. Yeah, how can I run? No, that's not what I wanted. Just run Python file. Okay, so we got here now. Let's continue and see if we get the error. Okay, unknown field name C0 and input record. Known field names are timestamp. Okay, so because we also have to specify that in other places in the code, because there's in this run file timestamp, for example, we're keying it here and we're telling it this is C0, this is C1. So let's try that again. Okay, we're getting closer. So key error, again, I think that's just, we'd have to find all the places that we're using this. I'm going to take all the metrics out, but we could probably just change all instances of kW energy consumption to C1. Okay. And then are there any other time stamp? That's okay, that's okay, that's okay, that's okay. Okay, so let's try that again. Python file. Key error has occurred, multi-step best predictions. Okay, so let's go back when so we've run one. Let's stop right here. Right here. Let's stop right there. And check this out. So now we've got a result. And the result object, let's dig into this, says name params is not defined. Name error params is not defined. That doesn't make sense. Date time. This is a consumption. This doesn't make sense. Why isn't this? When I look at this result here, it's a model result. When I look at it here under watch, oh, I see. Sorry, I can just see it right here in variables. This is what I wanted. Okay, result. So we've got inferences. We've got an anomaly score and anomaly label, but there are no predictions. Okay, so that's because, okay, let's go back. The model itself is HTM prediction model, but the term we used to create it, I'm not sure if it was, so it's so it's a temporal anomaly, inference type. You've given it a temporal anomaly inference type, so it won't include predictions in the result. So now let's inspect the model now. Before we create it, let's look at the model parameters. Where's that stupid function? It's not stupid, it's convenient, right? It's conveniently named. Get scalar metric with time of day anomaly params. All right, right before we create that model, let's see what those params really look like. That should be the default. Can I configure this? Configuration. Add a configuration. Python current file integrated attached. No. I don't want this. I want this. What is all this? I don't know what I just did. Okay, anyway, here we are, params. So, inference args and model config. Inference args, input predicted field auto, predicted field is C1, prediction steps is 1. So we've got a 1 step ahead prediction. And the model params, so we want to change the inference type from temporal anomaly to temporal multi-step. Okay, so this is where you come in here, or where someone comes in. We want to go into these params. What's it called? Params model config. Can I key it like this? Yeah. Model params. Inference type equals temporal multi-step. All right. Let's rerun this. Okay, did this work? No. So I think I have to key it properly. Okay, go away though. How do I get it to go away? Okay. I think I gotta do this. And maybe this will work. Let's just try it. Step. Nope. Okay. Has no attribute inference type. So it's so close. One more. I don't know why I thought it would work different that time. Okay. One more time. Let's get past it. All right. So now we should see params. I'm not ready to cheer yet. Params, model config, model params, inference type, temporal, multi-step. Okay. So now we just continue. And we don't need this breakpoint anymore. Boom, no multi-step best predictions. Dang it. Okay, so what do we have? Model result. Inferences, anomaly score none. Multi-step best predictions. Oh, this is metrics. Classifier input, predicted field index, none. Predicted field name, C1, prediction number, raw input, sensor input. Okay, let me go look for right. We've got too many things. Go away, trash. Temporal multi-step. Let's look in the docs. I mean, we've been here before. This is what I was trying before. Inference args is not used at all. It should be used. think. Okay. Let's go to Epic API, search for temporal multi-step. Temporal multi-step, non-temporal multi-step, temporal next step. That's what I used. Model parameters, inference type, temporal multi-step. That's what we just did, right? Inference type, temporal multi-step. What else do I have to change to get this to work? Okay, let's look at the let's look at this again. We'll look at the model params as we're getting them right from this, and we'll bring the parameters up over here. Model config, model params, and let's compare them to the prediction parameters that we have in the docs over here. Because here's an example model params in the docs. Used to create a prediction model, which will create an HTM with specified encoders, connect them to spatial pooler, blah, blah, blah. And it's, okay, so model HTM prediction. Version, oh wait, I think we're, yeah, here it is. Model HTM prediction. HTM prediction version, doesn't really matter. Aggregation info does not really matter. It should all be zeroed out, yeah. Predict ahead time. I like this speed. Predict ahead time, none or null. Find model params. Here we get to the stuff. Inference type, temporal multi-step. Right here, temporal anomaly. But we're gonna change that, right? As soon as we step over temporal multi-step. Okay, so that's the one thing that we have changed. Sensor params. Make sure the encoders look good. Sensor auto reset is none. We've got time of day and C0 time of day and C1. So that's gonna correspond to timestamp time of day. This one has a weekend encoder, but we didn't get one in this one, but whatever. And then consumption. So consumption has a resolution. It's different, but it doesn't matter. Name, field name, consumption, those are the same. The seed doesn't matter. Random distributed scalar encoder, fine. The timestamp, I mean, the parameters look fine. But they're under C0, C1 instead. But that's not the problem at this point. Sensor auto reset is null. Let's close these. Auto, yeah, already did that. Next is SB enable true, SP enable true, SB params. I don't expect any of these to be much different. Input width is 0. Ah! Input width is 0. Why would input width be 0? This should be the size of the encoders. This should be this, so I'm not sure. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, let's dive into this function here. Let's take a deep dive. Can I get this? How do I want this to go away? Okay, get scalar metrics with, so it totally confused me that input width would be 0 here. So let me read this and make sure that I'm gonna get what I expect to get when we call this. We call this with a sample of the data. And then what is min resolution? All the other things make sense to me. Min resolution Minimum resolution of the metric used to set up encoders. Okay, well that makes sense. So there's nothing that tells you, we're not giving anything to this function that would help it identify the input width. So it must require you, or it must assume that you will do that yourself. Let me see if there's any mention of this in the docs about this. Okay, so there is an example. But it's really not, so this wouldn't actually work, I guess. Maybe there's a problem here. I'm not sure that would actually work. Well, it creates a model, okay, but I'm not sure that it would create any results. So we might have stumbled onto a problem here. Let's see. So there's a way that we can fix this. So there's a way we can fix this right here, because this is where we're updating the parameters. If we know the encoders, well, I guess if we no, see, maybe I'm thinking at a too low a level. It's oh, I'm supposed to go to stand up in 10 minutes. I'm gonna have to take a break so I can go to attend stand up. And I've learned from experience that I don't want to stop the stream for this, so in a moment, in about 10 minutes, I'm gonna head in for stand up at my company, because I'm at work. So snooze, okay. That makes me think I probably need to update my JIRAs. Alright, does it still say starting soon? Let me fix that. It's sort of still starting soon. Okay, sort of done with that. Croissant wasn't fresh this morning. Kind of bummed me out. How do you like that? What I need is, maybe I can take this. I have a big, oh man. All I want is a big BRB. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. Starting soon, 2.2. Copy. Paste. Duplicate. too bad, and that's rad. What's rad? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I will have to turn the music off while I'm at my stand-up meeting, or else you guys will hear. Yeah, Python 2 is too bad, but the next part of this is going to be Python 3. I'm going to keep going until probably 1 o'clock at least. Yeah, you know this thing, the Giphy, changed size. I don't know why. Everything I put on here changes size on itself, by itself. Whenever if it's not included on every single broadcast screen, it's so strange. Like, I'll set it perfectly. I'm like, oh, okay, there we go. And I'll come back. I'll go to another screen and come back. Oh, now it's fine. I'll lock it, go to another screen and come back. Why does it work sometimes and not others? It drives me nuts. All right. Okay, so we'll come back to this issue that we were working on after stand-up, and I feel like there's something wrong. I think maybe I'm missing something here. Because I forget how the OPF works, and I think that the OPF puts in its own input width. It decides that on the fly. So now that I've thought about it a little bit, I don't think that is the problem. I'm pretty sure the model parameters you give the OPF are not the exact model parameters that it uses to create the algorithms. It has to do some calculations. So it's gonna use whatever encoder parameters are in here to decide. So now, let me run it again. Hey, it worked. My configuration worked. That's good. Am I in the right place? Yeah. So these params, model config, model params, especially in the SP params, this input width, I was so shocked. I'm like, oh, it's not set. Well, it doesn't need to set it. The user doesn't need to know this. That's the thing. So it gets set to 0 initially, and the OPF, the model that we're creating, will set it dynamically. I'm pretty certain that's one of the things that it does. Oops, I don't want to do that. Oh, I can change those on the fly. That's cool. Everything else looks okay. What I'm flabbergasted about is, like, why when we run. So let's just keep stepping in here. Created the model. We have a model. When we run this data, open, read, chunk, shift, whatever, we should get a timestamp and a consumption. Yes, got a nice row of data, and then we're gonna go, let's dive in here. Let's C1 and C2, here are the values. And now we're in the OPF. And now I have to go. So we'll start right back here in the middle of this debugging session, right after my stand-up. So I'm gonna have to mute both of my cameras, and you're gonna have to miss out on all this music. Sorry. And I'm gonna mute my other camera. I'll leave this up on the screen so I can say hi. But otherwise, I'm gonna be in a meeting for about 10 minutes.